好的，亲爱的观众朋友们，欢迎来到广东潮州。那您现在正在收看的呢，就是中央广播电视总台为您带来的特别节目。
Welcome to Chaozhou City of Guangdong Province. Now you're watching the special live streaming program What's Up Guangdong, prepared by CGTN. And now I'm at the Guangji Bridge. So talking about bridge, you're about to ask, where are you exactly? Because you are standing on a boat. So what is that connection between the boat and also the bridge? So today I'm going to reveal the secret behind this bridge. Today I'm not the only one to give you this program. I'm also joined by Madam Liu. So please say hi to everyone. My name is Liu Yuyu. I'm from the Museum of the Guangji Bridge. So today you are our guest to share with us one of the 8 major scenic spots of this city, and the Guangji Bridge is located by the side of a very famous tower. And why we can find this pontoon here, in the early days by the Southern Song Dynasty, it was established. Until now, it has a history of 850 years. In early days, when the local official has discovered that our passengers have to travel long distance in order to get to the other side of the river, so he has decided to build up these piers of the bridges in order to create this ancient part of the bridge. And we have 18 floating boats as the component of the bridge. And for the following officials, they have continued with this hard work, and they have started by the banks of the river, and they are moving towards the center of the river. In the very beginning, we have prepared 86 piers, and until now it's reduced to 18 in order to support the major body. So for this Guangji Bridge, there's a very significant feature. Apart from the pontoon, we also have the arch and also the beam bridge. So for the beam bridge and also the arch bridge, maybe later when we go to the land, we could see that from distance. And now we are on the pontoon. We have 6 groups of these pontoons. Every morning we will disconnect these boats and we will move it to the other side of the riverbank. Yes, we will put those floating boats, 3 in a group. Starting by 10 a.m., we will start the disconnection, and during the holidays and also by the weekends, we will start earlier in the morning by 9 a.m. And later on in the day, we're about to connect the eastern and western side of the bridge. And in the evening, again, we're about to use our motors to drive those floating boats to the side of the river so that it can maintain unclogged for the further navigation of the boats. So this bridge has helped us to realize a lot of functions for the passage of our passengers and also for the navigation of the boats, as well as for the regulation of the river water level in scenarios of the flood. It is the first of its kind in the whole world to be connected and disconnected at the same time. And can you find similar boats nearby? In the country or even in the world as a total, it's quite rare for us to find similar types of the Guangji Bridge that can be disconnected and connected at the same time. You have a very famous river called the River of Han. It's named after the famous literal Mr. Han Yu. Over there, what we can see are the piers of the bridge made of stone, and also very beautiful pavilions up there on every pier. And that part of the bridge was renovated in 2013. It has been elevated and consolidated during this kind of renovation. Later on, we're about to witness the whole process of connection from the eastern side and the western side of the pontoon bridge. And there is a person in charge over there holding the rope. So what is the way to connect the two sides? Only with the ropes? Actually, there's a special way of insertion. Apart from that mechanics of insertion, we also have the very strong ropes. You can also see two red buckets. Actually, they are anchored to the bottom of the river. And to the other side of the bucket, the end of the rope. So the rope we are using here for the connection of the boats, they are anchored already, they are fixed, so it's quite stable and is insured. And here we refer to this bridge as one of the biggest features of our city and of Chaozhou. While we are increasing the number of the piers of the bridge from the riverbank to the middle of the river, we are facing the growing difficulties because in the middle the current is stronger and it's quite hard for the ancestors to build up the very solid piers of the bridge. So that's why they leave the middle part as the pontoon style. And now, we are in modern days. Surely we have the technology to build up the consolidated piers, for example, with the cement or with the stone in the middle of the current. But still, we'd like to keep this old tradition and this old look of the bridge because it's a symbol of the old culture and the days. So today, it's also a big advantage of this bridge because when it's disconnected, we could let the boats passing by. In the daytime, it's a site for sightseeing, and in the evening, then it's used for the passage of navigation for the boats. So dear viewers, if you have any questions that you would like to ask, don't hesitate to leave us a message in our platform. And again, when we come to the city, we'd like to learn the dialect. So the Guangji Lou is Guangji Lao. And Guangji Gate is for the Guangji Bridge. How about welcome to the Guangji Bridge? That is a bit long for me. So I hope that all of you would have a chance to visit here in person and find Madam Liu as your guide. And now we are waiting for the complete stabilization of the two parts. So how long should we wait for the completion of the connection of the two parts? About half an hour to 40 minutes because the workers are still working on it. They have to step on the parts and also have the insertion. And also they have to tighten the ropes. Every 3 boats are connected as one group. And they are consolidated together. And there's another extra board of wood connecting every group of 3 boats, and this board is flexible and it can be removed. And with sunset, we're about to disconnect the whole part of the pontoon, so we will remove the wooden board and pull the teams, the groups of 3 boats by the side of the river. So for this kind of boats, are they used elsewhere in the city? We also have a folk song about it. There is another name for the Guangji Bridge, it's the Xiangzi Bridge. According to the legend, there's one of the deity called Xiangzi that has created this bridge. Now, what about the origin of this folk history? Because for our ancestors, it was quite challenging for us to build up such a bridge in the middle of the river. There must be some help coming from the mysterious forces. And 18 shuttle boats are making up this bridge. And you can tell that we have really great piers of the bridge. According to the famous scientist Mao Yishen, this is a very consolidated construction. We have several pavilions. For example, those ones on top of the piers, and for each pavilion they are different in the architectural style. So dear viewers, later please stay tuned. We're about to show you more details about the architectural style of those pavilions. On the western piers there is a stone sculpture of a creature. It's in the shape of an ox. In the ancient days, we have put actually a pair of the oxes on both piers of the bridge for east and also for the west side. However, in one dynasty, the one on the pier for the eastern side is flushed away by the current, so today we only have one. In ancient days, because we had a lot of floods, so quite frequently this boat has been damaged heavily by this current of the flood, but our people have stuck to the reconstruction of this bridge. And for the pavilions over there, it's renovated in the year 2003 and is finally completed by the year of 2007. But the original creation of them could be dating back to the dynasty of Ming. In ancient days, for the pavilions by the 2 sides, they could in total come up to this number of 126. And in ancient days, as you can imagine, this is a major passage of our boats and for the people. So people are making a choice between taking the road by the water or take the road on the land. A lot of merchants, they are really clever with their business, so they have decided to set up some shops and also the stands on the bridge and also on the surface of the river. In the ancient days, if you can imagine that there are lines of shops waiting for the passengers here, and you can find everything you want here, and also the other entertainment activities. And there's also a famous person from Chaozhou city. For example, Mr. Li Ka-shing, and he's from this city, and a lot of famous people from this side have also donated a lot of resources financially and in other ways to support the development of the city, and including for the renovation of this part of the bridge. Yes, as I can imagine, to renovate this whole project of construction, of course, we need a lot of capital and also human resources. And now, as you can tell, that our connection work has been completed. And later we're about to reopen this passage. Over there is the western side. You can take this direction. Over there we're about to move towards the eastern part because we are traveling from the western side. Now is the time for us to move up the bridge. I know that our madam has some other obligations, so I'm about to let her go. I'm really thankful that we could have Madam Liu today for us to have this wonderful guide. And you know that Guangji Bridge is really famous, one of the most ancient 4 bridges in China. And it has a total length of 580 meters. And we could trace back to the dynasty of Han to have the first stone laid for the construction of this bridge. A lot of tourists are coming. And now the whole passage is open for the visitors. Among them, quite many visitors and tourists. Apart from the Guangji Qiao, there is a famous tower named Guangji Tower. Now in May already it's really hot in Chaozhou because we are in the southern part of China. And you have to continue to wear the masks, even though it's very hot in weather, because the whole country is still working hard for the control and the prevention of the rebounding of the pandemic in the country. And now I'm taking the stairs to show you around the pavilions on the piers of the bridge. Now I'm already reached this fixed part of the bridge. As is mentioned by our guide, Madam Liu, for every pier is different, for every pavilion is different, because they are built according to different culture and to different understanding. Now we'd like to pick one pavilion and sit down. Excuse me, good morning. What are you doing here? I'm making some tea. Great. I'm craving a cup of tea now. So you are making the traditional Dancong tea of the Chaozhou city. I'm making the Kung Fu tea. And here Kung Fu is different from that Kung Fu from martial art. So what is the meaning of this Gong Fu tea? Gong Fu in Chinese language means you have to take some time and energy to prepare the tea. Could you please show us the whole process of the tea making? We are using the charcoal to heat the water. Because later, with the boiled water, you can also smell the fragrance of the charcoal. We are using the olive charcoal to boil the water, so later the fragrance would be mixed into the water, and it will also add up to the fragrance of the tea leaves. You are moving up and down. And in the second step, you have to get close to your cup of tea so that the fragrance will not disappear in a short period of time. Once you pour the hot water into the teapot, you have to get the water out in a few seconds so that the tea leaves will not be kept in the water for a long period of time. This will damage the taste, of course. Now have a try. First of all, you could try to smell the tea. It smells very good. What about the tea tasting? Just take small sips. You don't have to finish all the tea once for all, and you could divide them into, for example, 3 parts with 3 sips. And you can also feel that the tea taste is also changing within your mouth. You can also feel the sweetness from the tea. I know that for the local people from Chaozhou City, they studied quite a lot the tea culture. There's a gentleman joining us. Actually, he's taking photos about this beautiful bridge of Guangji. This Guangji Bridge is created over the river of Han. And I know that for local people of Chaozhou, they prefer a cup of tea before the meal and after the meal. Is it for washing your mouth? Actually not. Here we are making the Dancong tea, or the Gongfu tea. We are growing up with the tea drinking. It's a kind of habit of ours, and it's also part of our daily life. It's our lifestyle habit. Here we also take morning tea. It's different from the morning snacks of other places in Guangdong. It's like the morning tea during breakfast. We will only have the tea and we will not add up more snacks, not like any other places in Guangdong province, like in Guangzhou City. We have the morning tea, also the afternoon tea, and we can continue this tea drinking throughout the day. And you have this habit of healthcare, because we all know that tea is very good for the body and for your health. I'm about to continue with my journey because we have prepared so many more surprises for you. For example, some features of the local culture and tradition. We know that Chaozhou City has a very long history. And now I'm about to review some of the cultural parts of the city. One of the major highlights is the Opera of Chaozhou. It's one of the very famous cultural forms of art here. And I can already hear the songs and the lines of opera performed by our master. So in a minute, I'm about to show you more details about the Opera of Chaozhou. So over there is one gentleman row and one lady row. There is one lady playing this row of the gentleman. Just enjoy it. As I can tell, the actor and actress from the Chaozhou opera, they don't have as thick the makeup as those from the Peking opera. So you're with them. I'm learning from them. So you're the colleague of them. Please say hi to everyone and introduce yourself. I'm the leader of an art group, and you are also sharing some guidelines with our actors and actresses. They are now giving the performance from a folk story. So this is a couple, the lady and the gentleman row. They fell in love with each other and they have decided to stay together for the rest of their life. So it's a performance of the love story. And I've noticed that there is a difference in terms of the makeup between the actors from your local opera and that of Peking opera. Yes, for their eyebrows and also for the eyeshadows and the liners. In the past, it's also very heavy makeup. But today, we have modified a little bit the makeup because for the modern people, we have different tastes. And according to the aesthetic taste changes, we have decided to adapt the makeup to the day. What about the other differences and features of the Chaozhou opera? Our screenwriters have picked up the local stories, for example, the folk tales, and they have written the story for the script of the Chaozhou opera. And they're also singing in the Chaozhou dialect. Yes, that is authentic dialect. Just now, I've also learned some dialect. For the Guangji Pavilion, this is welcome to Guangji Pavilion. So this is the dialect of Chaozhou city. It's quite difficult for us to learn. You have 8 tones in this dialect. It's very challenging. And the local actors and actresses, they are giving the performance in their dialect. Thank you very much. And this is we Chaozhou people welcome all of you. So for dear viewers, if you are interested, you could also try to learn some dialect from Chaozhou. Good job, that's not bad. So I think that when you speak the dialect, it seems like you are singing with all the different tones. So it's wonderful to hear this dialect. And how to say this name of this performance? The name in Mandarin is 春香传. And this part is called 爱歌. Thank you very much, Madam, for all this introduction about the cultural background of this performance. I'm about to give you some more time to enjoy this performance. So may I join them? It's the very first time for me to see the performance of the Chaozhou city. So you are playing this lady's role and you are playing the gentleman's role. What about your costume? Is it different from the other costumes for other roles in the opera? Actually, we have different types of the female roles. For example, for the female roles that can do the martial arts, then usually they will wear the flags. And for this one, it's much gentle. And also you can see the patterns of the flowers. It's made by embroidery and also the belt. This is the jade belt, and the piece of jade is the symbol of the social status. Could you please show us some moves? The body moves in your opera. So do we have volunteers to join us? So do you want to learn some body moves from the Chaozhou opera? Maybe you're too shy. What about the legs? I want to go out and play and pay attention to your fingers. Look at our bridge. Look at this bridge of Xiangzi, or the bridge of Guangji. As I explained to you before, there are two names for the bridge, Xiangzi Bridge and also the Guangji Bridge. They are the same bridge. Thank you very much, Madam. Thank you for teaching me all those body moves. Please continue with your wonderful performance. So just now I had to try by myself this famous Chaozhou opera. And the Chaozhou opera is a famous part of the local culture. Today they have modified the makeup for the interpreters of this theater in order to adapt to the latest aesthetic preferences of the audience. And they have also applied the dialect of Chaozhou city to do the performance. So it's quite typical. And again, I'm under the sunshine. I'm about to show you around the beams of the pavilions. As is mentioned before by our guide, each pavilion on the top of the bridge piers, they are in different architectural style. For example, here we can read two characters in Chinese, the introduction of the phoenix. as you can tell, for the columns and also the rooftops, as well as the total style of the architecture, it differs from one and another. And those are the symbols of the wisdom of our ancestors. Because this bridge has a history of many hundreds and thousands of years, it could be traced back to the dynasty of Han. By the two sides of it, you can see some in-situ performance of the non-cultural of the cultural heritage, the non-tangible cultural heritage. Today we don't have too many tourists. Yesterday we have encountered a lot of them. And just now I would like to invite some of the volunteers from the audience to join our performance. However, they are too shy to take the invitation today because we are embarking on a trip for the local culture of Chaozhou City. So we have started our program with this famous Guangji Bridge, and later we have tasted a little bit the Chaozhou tea, and later we have enjoyed the performance of the Chaozhou opera and what is waiting for us ahead. Here are some cultural heritage performance waiting for us. For example, the sculpture of wood and also embroidery. So this is the sculpture from wood. And these are the copies of that statue of ox standing by the western side of our bridge. So finally, we have some breeze here. So for this early summer days, I'd like to give you a tip. Please drink more water. Now it's about the season for vacation and for tourism. Many people would choose to come to Guangdong province and especially to the Chaozhou city for the good food and also for the splendid culture. For example, here we have the famous food for the hot pot of beef. And what about this gentleman? What is he doing? Is this porcelain or others? What are you doing, sir? I'm making a teapot. With the mud? Yes, this is the ancient way of the teapot making. Why are you doing this with your hand? We don't have the molds for the making of those teapots, purely handmade. If you use your fingers to shape the forms of the teapot, then on the internal surface you could clearly see the traces left by your fingers. And for the experts, immediately they would detect those traces by your fingers and they know that it's a handmade teacup. What makes it so special, the teacups made by the fingers? They will give us different tastes of the tea compared to those teacups made by the machines. Only the experts could tell. Because if you use the machines to do the shaping of the teacups, then you have to add up some chemical elements inside. If you use your hands to do the forming of the shapes of these teacups, then it's purely natural. Again, I'd like to invite our master to show us the whole process of the teacup making. He knows his business very well, and you can see this whole elegance in the process of making. And he's using both hands to treat the external and internal surfaces of the teacup. And the two hands are collaborating one with another. However, whatever shapes you make is always based on the column or on a ball-like, because we are using this turning wheel. Do you have some special techniques to show us? This is one of the most ancient practices. Today we have already this automated turning wheels. In the past, people even have to use the pedals to make the turning wheels move. From this stage to the final product, how much time does it take? It will take like 15 days. If you use the machine and you use the mold, then it will take only 1 week, but if it is handmade, then it will take us more time to make them dry completely. It looks quite easy. May I have a try? First of all, let me complete this one, and I will give the turning wheel to you. So now you are making the cover for that teapot. Do you have to measure the opening of the previous part in order to make this cover? No, actually, I'm already very experienced, so I only have a glance at the previous part, and now I could estimate the size of this cover. So let us see whether it will match the previous one. Because there will be a contraction when it's dried, and then the two parts would stay together. So you have to use your fingers and give some pressure to the cups. Now it's your turn. You have to use the middle finger. And also put your elbows on your knees. So what I'm making a teacup. First of all, put your hands into the water, so to make your fingers wet. Take it slow and don't make the surface too thin. I'm struggling with this. It's not that easy as expected because the mud is very soft. With an extra touch, immediately the shape of the object would change. You have to try to use your fingers and feel the changes with the surface of mud. Now you could put your left hand inside. So we can restart and make another one. You have to use your thumb to make a hole inside, and you can have the void inside. And gradually, with a turning wheel, you can form the basic form. So why we need our fingers wet? Because then it can help us to move smoothly on the surface of the cup, and you cannot have the long fingertails, otherwise it will damage the surface. So is this one too big? This one is not qualified because it's shaking on the turning disc. Still, it's very soft. The clay and the mud is not completely dry. You can even leave your fingerprint there. If you have the long fingertails, then you will have some more difficulties in making the cup. Again, I'm giving the floor back to our master. What are you making now? I'm about to make a really tiny teacup, a teapot in a very small size. It's very small one, however, every part is there. The smaller the teapot is, the more difficult it will be in the making. Because finally the cup, as you can see, the teapot and the cup will be in very limited diameters. As you can tell, it's really a tiny teapot. Now you can insert your fingers inside. You are allowed to put your fingers into that void now, but later on you will not repeat that again. Now we can see the opening of the cup. It's really small cup, as I can tell from distance. This is the body of the teacup, the teapot. And then you have to cut it with the line. This is the tiny, cute teapot. Smaller than my finger. This is freshly made tiny teapot, made by our master on site. Again, I'm about to make a cover for that. Now we have completed the making for the teapot lid. It's very small, however, every part is there. We also pay attention to the details. It fits. So you're really experienced with these techniques. And we are also surrounded by many visitors here. Everyone's interested in this cultural heritage. What about the history of this handmade teapot? That is a very long history. However, we don't have a lot of people practicing this art. Because it's a very challenging form of art, so only the techniques would be shared, would be passed from one generation to another within the family. So we only share the secrets with our family members, with the offsprings. If you want to have a try yourself and also gain this experience of the teapot making, you're always welcome to come to this place. Okay, today we have enjoyed the performance of the Chaozhou opera. And also we have tasted the Chaozhou tea. And for this master of the teapot making, he has more than 3 decades of experience for the teapot making. So that is all for my part today. For our live streaming program, What's Up Guangdong? Today we have enjoyed the culture of the Chaozhou city. We have witnessed the glamours of the tea, the opera, the bridge, and also the handmade teapots. In the very beginning, if you remember, we have started the program with the pontoon. We have witnessed the whole process of that bridge connection in the morning, and we can trace back to the Han Dynasty for the original creation of that Guangji Bridge. And now my fingers are covered by mud because I have just experienced a handmade teapot making. If you are interested, you could also come to this place. And there are a lot of visitors here. I'd like to have a chat with one of them. So as I can see, they're a little bit too shy to accept our interview. And many people are here for that beef hot pot of Chaozhou, and other people are here for the cultural reasons. For example, the tea culture and also the opera culture. I'm here also for that hotspot. But finally, I discovered so many other surprises from the cultural side. So please stay tuned for our live streaming series program, What's Up Guangdong? And if you are interested, you could also pay attention to our competition for the host of CGTN. So I'm about to wrap up here. We're about to stay some more days here in the Guangdong province. If you have some more questions, please stay tuned and leave us the message on the platform. See you next time.